Remember, guys, Ashcroft on field, not on the bench.
Shut up. I don't like. Hey guys, welcome to The Bounce. We're here talking about this epic lights out game between Brisbane and Melbourne. Big J, that was absolutely insane, mate. Were you around when you saw the last time the lights went out? That was the first for me.
Mate, it was lights out for the fans at the Gabba. It was lights out for Max Gawn owners as well. First quarter, goes down with a knee injury. See you later, mate. 0 score for the whole game. Boy, oh boy, we're going to go over the people that brought him in, but those people traded some shocking players from last week into Max Gawn, and now they've got to go and trade him out again. What is this nonsense?
Look, I feel bad for him. At the same, it's hard for me to feel bad for them when I'm feeling so bad for myself at this point in time. All those people that managed to hold on to Ashcroft, well done. All those that managed to get Ashcroft's points, even more well done. And all those who don't get Ashcroft's points because he's not an emergency and he's on your bench, like myself, we've played ourselves. I'm sure there's very few of us that's done that, unfortunately. But you were talking about Maxi Gawn. Yeah, that's very tragic. That is very, very unfortunate. The guy was killing it to start the year. And then he got killed by a teammate, no less, as well.
Yeah, friendly fire came in, gave him a nice little leg knock, and then I felt so bad. Like, we didn't hear anything about him, like about the results for his test, kind of what the physios and the doctors thought about for at least halfway through the game. Those scenes of him lying on the floor just looking devastated in that first quarter, man. Oh, man, my heart sank. I'm like, no Max Gawn for the whole year. Decapitation, amputation, all that kind of, all those tations. It's just gone. He did sit on the bench for the rest of the game, so that's at least something. But yeah, sad day for Melbourne then. Grundy stepped up a little bit, but it obviously wasn't enough to pull them over the line.
Grundy's a shit. Grundy is not a Gawn. It is you can't compare these two. Maxi is Melbourne. Him. Clary, Glenn Oliver, Petrarca, Cozzy Pickett. These guys embody what it is to be Melbourne, and Grundy just ain't it. Unfortunately, the guy just no good. You will see his points, but for all those people out there, yeah, it's just no good. I tell you now, sometimes maybe shit, sometimes maybe good, but for Grundy, it's always
no good
shit. Always shit. Yes. This is for all of the guys out there. There are quite a few that brought in Maxi Gawn this week, and to you people, our heartfelt apologies, condolences. Abs Magic did an amazing thing, reading all those comments on Twitter, telling people stories. And yes, guys, as he says, you are not alone. Stewart had to go. It is what it is. Liam Jones, you hate him. You don't like anti-vaxxers. It is what it is. Brodie Grundy, I understand. The guy is not a good. So you wanted to move off him. Laird, he dropped you a 50. And you probably hate him even more because, like me, you had him as captain. He had to go. Marshall, this one, I've got no idea what the hell you guys were thinking. What 56 of you out there were thinking? Why are you trading out Rowan Marshall?
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty rough. A lot of people just going after those points, right? Gawn gets 50 points more than Marshall. People got it in their heads. Gawn's going to come in and score 50 points more every week. Better come in and do the trade. Look what's happened now. I mean, you can't predict the Gawn going to go down. We don't even know how long for. We don't know the seriousness of the injury, I think, coming into Saturday morning. But, yeah, it's pretty gosh darn rough, man. Look at the next people. We've got here Josh Kelly, like you said. Imagine trading Nat 5 to Gawn this week. People would have traded Nat 5, Hopper, and someone else for Gawn. Like, come on. Yep. And then Elliot Yeo, people traded to Gawn this week. I don't know why you still had Yeo. And then imagine doing Andy Brayshaw to Gawn. Like, 25 people. I know you guys are probably the ones that jumped on Bose for that 115, but shame on you for trading Brayshaw to Gawn.
Exactly. Especially when, have they got North Melbourne this week?
Yep.
Especially when they're going to be playing North Melbourne. He's going to score 150 this week. Well done, guys. Well done. You give up a 150 in trades to get a 0 from Gorn. Obviously, you can't predict that. But look, heartfelt apologies. It'll be fine. It'll be okay. I can understand why you thought it's going to be a good shout. It's going to be a good pick because the guy was on fire and he's up against the Brisbane Lions who have Big O. And Big O, with all due respect, he's a decent, serviceable ruckman, but he ain't no Max Gawn, is he? So I can understand why you're hoping that even then the Melbourne midfield can get well on top. They smashed the Bulldogs last week, and the Brisbane Lions, they had a power outage in Adelaide last week, and then they come to the Gabba and they had a different power outage.
If you haven't seen the footage, I think one of the lights in the big stands went on fire. Was out for about 15 minutes or so, I think. Just the whole stadium went blank. It's like people are like, what's going on? What's going on? And then you slowly start seeing like a little bit of fire coming out of the lights. Things obviously got turned off because they didn't know what they were going to do. But once the game went on, I mean, from the get-go, Max Gawn went down and then Melbourne were in a bit of shambles. Yes, the score was a bit, was a lot better than what we'd think for the competition. But majority of that game, Joe, Brisbane had him.
They did.
Without Max Gawn, all those pieces got shuffled around. They brought in like a 180-centimetre player to cover Max Gawn being out, and it just didn't work out for them at all.
Yeah, Jakey Melksham, look, Bomber man, always will be a Bomber in my heart, Jakey Melksham. But look, he's expected the game's gone a bit past him now. Having him as the sub is fairly interesting. Obviously, the loss of Cozzy Pickett was huge. They really felt his absence this week, especially when on the flip side you had a guy in Cameron. Charlie Cameron was simply lighting it up. So it was going to be a tough ask, but it really came from the Brisbane midfield, and Zorko was a huge in. For Brisbane this week. Did a great job. And you had, Bailey Fritsch comes back in. Jack Viney obviously takes Laurie's role, and Fritsch comes in for Pickett. So people are like, oh, where does that leave Chandler in all of this? Because when Pickett comes back, what's going to happen to Chandler? But as you will see, it's likely that somehow they're going to try and keep Chandler in there because where is he? Where is Chandler? There he is. 71 points off of 12 punches.
It's decent. It's decent enough for what we want.
Correct.
Chandler always, as you say, did have those question marks, and he delivered. I doubt you would have had him on field, but he definitely delivered. As you say, 63% time on ground's not great though.
I wish Tanner Bruin could sort of take a leaf out of his book. If you're going to go 60%ers, at least give us scores over 70. I don't want this nonsense from Tanner Bruin. I could have easily gone Bruin to Chandler, saved myself a lot of money.
Yeah, so Chandler came in 63% time on ground, man. It's just not feasible for us. But, the people that brought him in, the people that started him, it's pretty happy. And I think he turns himself into a must-have, right?
Yeah, he does for 1 week where he gets a price rise out of him. And then Cozzy Pickett comes back and it's just like, oh boy, what are we going to do? Do we keep?
Maybe.
Is he going to play?
Maybe. I really don't think that he's going to get dropped. The way that he played this game, moving so far deep up the ground, using almost on the wing as a bit of a transition type player. I know where is he? Chandler. It says on here, playing forward pressure role. Yes, but he was deep in that back part of the wing as well. So I reckon in that first and second quarter, he got used quite a few times as that transition type player. Grab the ball, kick it to Chandler, kind of that second person, if you can imagine the half back, and then you've got one more, and then it was Chandler. Did really, really well. Anyone else from that Melbourne team? I mean, it was the Clayton Oliver show, wasn't it, Joe? We've talked about Dane Zorko, even though he got subbed out like late into the fourth quarter. It was really the Clayton Oliver show. For those people like myself, I don't think you own him either. But for those people like myself who wanted us to come in to get another poor score so he'd drop in price, like what happened to Lockie Neal, Oliver's not reset his cash gen, but it doesn't look good that we're going to get him at, sub 600K.
Yeah, 100%. For all you Clary owners out there, well done, congratulations! You picked the winner to start the year off. It looks early days, of course. We haven't seen Rory Laird come this week and hopefully drop a 150, but that Clary score could have easily been a lot higher. He had 8 clangers to his name, in addition to, in that 135. You know what I mean, like that. And obviously, he did get some scaling during the break where everyone sat down, and obviously rumors Zorko gets subbed out and he's like, stuff this crap. I don't want to be sitting out doing nothing. Let's pull the plug here and let's get this game over and done with. I've played a whole game. But look, honestly, Clary's a gun. You got to put him in your sights. He's a must-have. He tends to start the year slow, but he hasn't done it. He hasn't done so this year. So you're going to get him in. Petrarca is one that's probably going to drop in price a bit. 97. It was a fairly quiet sort of game. Massive win this game for Clary. The guy's he's a superstar. There's no denying it. Petrarca's one that we could possibly get forward status for. So it's always good to keep a spot in the forward line ready. And he hasn't been killing it either. So hopefully he doesn't keep killing it all the time, stays low on people's radar. And as soon as he gets forward status, he could be one we get in. I'd imagine a lot of people were hoping it would be gone, but we'll have to wait and see on the duration of that injury, right?
Yeah, maybe Gorn comes in and gets it middle of the year instead of round 6, like a lot of people were hoping, like you're saying. Lockie Hunter's one that I think a few people had brought in at kind of that middle 400 price. He's done quite well. I'm pretty sure he's had 2 close to 100 scores now. No one cares about Ben Brown. Forget about him. As you say, Chris Petrarca, moving down this list, there's probably not anyone else who's really relevant outside of Chandler for the Melbourne side, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's correct. It was a fairly dour sort of affair. I know we have a mutual friend, Shaq, who had Bowie and was really hoping that Bowie would really pop off this week with no Salem, who's going to be again out for a month. And May was out. So that was also a massive out for Brisbane, losing Stephen May before the match. Tomlinson comes back. But Bowie just didn't get the points that people were hoping for.
Pretty average. It's pretty average.
It is. For 380K, it's actually not that good at all. So, look, you got to, decisions have to be made. If you keep him, if you trade him. And that's the thing. This year, a lot of people went with the mid-price strategy due to the sub rule and the potential that it has to offer, and that, mid-prices did so well for us last year. This week is going to have a lot of question marks over a lot of these players. But Dunkley, no question marks over him, right?
No. And it was interesting too, because he didn't have a poor game last week, but it really felt like this was the week. Maybe it's a home factor, playing his first game for the new club at home. But he was impressive, Joe. Really nice contested possession player alongside his boy Ashcroft, someone that you didn't put on field. I don't know why, but it was Ashcroft getting free kicks in the middle, getting free kicks up forward, nice high tackles, come and get some goals. Come on, Ashcroft. So he was fantastic, and he only went at 58%. So you imagine he could have had a much better game if he was kicking a lot better. Moving down that list, there's some really good footage of Joe Danaher yelling at Hipwood for not giving him the ball, considering he was like 20 centimeters taller than the defender that was on him. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Joey Danaher. Joey Danaher, you got to respect him as a player. Talent-wise, he's great, but his demeanor, his personality, his outlook, I don't know, man. I've struggled to really appreciate him when he's sitting there on the bench and he was always whinging and complaining. Stuff you, Joey. You're a flog, dare I say it, and a disgrace to the Danaher name. Everyone on the Danahers, such humble, down-to-earth, nice people. I don't know. It just sees Joe's just really different, which is very disappointing because my name is also Joe, and I don't like this. But Lockie Neal, as you mentioned before, he's going to be dropping in price. He could be a juicy proposition, but he tends to start the year strong, not end it strong. So, do we even get him in?
It's questionable. I mean, he's not one of those players that's going to get forward eligibility, so they kind of comes out of that line. He should be able to do quite well. I think just the last couple of games, as you say, they're just finding things out. Josh Dunkley's taken a lot of that time, which we thought was going to happen. And then, Ashcroft, if Ashcroft comes out and pulls out 105s, someone's got to be giving up those points. In this game, that was Lockie Neal. In other games, it might be someone else, but you just can't keep putting in players who are going to be scoring 80s, 90s, and 100s, and then not be give anywhere else in the team. You know, Jared Lyons isn't playing, but it's not like McCluggage isn't there. It's not like Lockie Neal's not there. It's not like Zorko's not playing. Feasibly, you just can't do it. Moving down the list, Big O, I don't think anyone really had him. Did quite well against Brodie Grundy. So, you know, congrats to him. And then McKenna as well. So he's one who I don't have in my team, who will be turning, you know, Liam Jones will become McKenna this week in my side. So I think he scored a 90-odd last week, scored a 78 after starting quite slow as well. He was on negative points at one time. So pretty good there. Moving down that list, Darcy Wilmot on 68 as well. And then I don't know about you, Joe, but I was actually quite impressed with Cam Rayner. He's not really Supercoach relevant, but his playing today was really good.
Yeah, he was pretty good. You can't deny it. But it certainly helps when you don't have a guy like Cozzy Pickett applying insane amounts of pressure in the Melbourne forward line. So, look, he did look good. He does provide something different to them. Supercoach-wise, I'd much prefer it that if he would, you know, link up with like a Connor McKenna more, use that speed off halfback, but he seems to really be backing his kicking in, and you can see 13 kicks to 3 handballs. So look, he's giving them something different. I don't know if it's very positive because he was only going at 50% disposal efficiency. So, you know, I'd much prefer if they had the ball in someone else's hands. Obviously, they lost Kitty Coleman, and he's a great ball user as well. So, look, I can get around the experiment, especially seeing as they have such a stacked forward line. But Gunston, if they're going to manage Gunston at some point in the year, they can flick Cam Rayner forward to pinch hit there, which was pretty good.
Around the mark. Yeah, Gunston
did.
looked around the mark. He just didn't convert really. I think there was a few kicks that just went out on the full. So expecting a bit more from him generally. Yeah.
And that's basically all of the relevant players that we've discussed, right, in this game. So all in all, a great performance for Brisbane. They did a great job getting their season back on track against the premiership favourites in Melbourne at home. Obviously, a lot of controversy over the game in relation to, you know, Maxi Gawn going down so early and the lights, and then Melbourne came flying back. But that's footy for you, mate. All the ups and downs, and we're looking forward to seeing what the next games have, right?
Yeah. There's 4 games today. We'll try and put all those in the same video. And then the 3 games on Sunday as well. So remember, guys, we're doing the new format for the game reviews. If you guys like it, chuck it down in the comments. Let us know what you're feeling. We've also got our Supercoach group as well that you guys can win some amazing prizes for that. I'll put the instructions for that down below. Any final words, Joe?
No, not at all. Thanks, guys, for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We are pumping out the content for you because here at the Centre Bounce, we do the hard work so that you don't have to. Bye for now.
Remember, guys, Ashcroft on field, not on the bench.
Shut up. I don't like